So we've been doing this subject and for a number of weeks now, and we've got 1 week left. It's me today, and then in 2 weeks' time, not next week because we're at the beach for baptisms, the following week, Becky Waterman is going to come, and I've asked her, can you please summarise everything that Nick and I have been saying over the last few weeks? Can you just do like a summary of the whole thing and deposit that with us? So she's going to do that. But we've been looking at these symbols. These symbols. What do we do with our money? We give, invest, and live off the rest. If you're brand new today, I'm so sorry. You didn't get the cue card. What do we do with our money? We give it, we invest it, we live off the rest it. Weird. It doesn't work. We've been looking at these because we are on spending. We did 3 weeks on tithing and giving, 2 weeks on investing and multiplying our money, and we have now done, this is the second week on spending our money. How do we spend money? We did these first 4 last week. We haven't got time to go through them again. For the sake of the podcast, I'll read them out. Put God first, be generous, provide for our families, and avoid debt where possible. We've done those 4. Just look them up on YouTube or find us on any reputable podcast player, and you'll be able to have a listen back to that. So we're starting with principle 5 today, and that is this principle here, saving. Now, for many years, I wrestled out the concept of saving. And you know that if you're not careful, you can react against an error and produce almost an equal and opposite error, because you're actually just reacting against the thing. Do you know what I mean by that? This isn't even a spiritual principle. You know, like people say, oh, I was always being told off by my parents when I was younger, so I'm never going to tell my kids off. You know, that thing. I'm never going to correct them. I was always being corrected, so I'm never going to... Like, well, if the fact you're always being corrected is an error, but so is the fact that you're now never going to correct your kids. So we've reacted against an error, and... you all right? We've reacted against an error, and we're producing another error. Okay? So what we're trying to do here with saving is, I have known people and churches particularly where in the past I have known of churches that have held on to stacks of money for years and years and years. And I think it's wrong. I think it's wrong. It doesn't mean it's not okay to have some money in the bank. But there have been some churches I've known where they're holding on to into the hundreds of thousands and for holding on to it for years. Like, well, what are you doing with it? Like, if you haven't got an aim for it, that could be feeding people, that could be housing people, that could be sending missionaries abroad, it could be doing all kinds of things. Why are you just holding on to it? And so what I have done in my own life is I've probably reacted a bit against that, and it's very easy to live with almost no saving because you're like, no, the money should be out there working, and it should be doing stuff, and it should be feeding people, and it should be this, and it should... Yeah, it's good. It's not wrong. It's like a right attitude. However, I have come to the place... I'm going to flick through this one because of time. First service taught me we don't have time. Yes, I've come to believe that savings are a good thing, but there are some caveats, and I'll come on to some of the caveats in just a minute. But savings are okay. Savings are good. There are some things that savings do. So let's tackle this first one here, saving for a rainy day. So Nick and I have a fund. It's actually an account, and and someone was talking to me about this after the first service, about the saving for rainy day fund. We call it the washing machine's broken account. So we've got, I don't know how much we've got in there, but not loads, but we know we've got enough that if the washing machine broke and we needed a new one, we've got enough money to buy a new washing machine. It's that sort of an account. It's like an emergency fund. Then you've got the next thing. You're saving for a thing, a car, a holiday, a new printer, a particular outfit for a wedding. It could be anything, but it's more money than you have available right now in 1 month. So you're putting money aside gradually. We have one of these pots for, it's not literally a pot, it's on a spreadsheet, but like a metaphorical pot for Christmas. We put a certain amount of money in our family in a Christmas jam jar each week, each month. And by the time we get around to Christmas, Christmas isn't covered, but it's within, it's within range, should we say, by the time we get round to Christmas. So that would come under the saving for a thing. We're saving for something that we would really love to go on holiday to, or we would love to go and visit so-and-so who lives in Mongolia, or, it's that thing, and you haven't got that disposable income, so you say, I'm going to save for that thing. What I love about that is that's not a security thing. You're saving with an intention for that money. Do you understand what I mean? We got some friends, actually, and I really like this idea, and I never did it. But we have, obviously, people, if you have kids, you will probably get some kind of child allowance. It's been going for years, right, in this country. And we've got some friends who, when their babies, now early 20s, were born, every bit of child allowance they put aside, every single bit of child allowance, and they put it in a separate account. And they learnt to live without the child allowance. And both their girls are now old enough that they're potentially going off to uni, both of them, one of them, and they're both moving out and doing their own thing. And there's a lump of money waiting there for them because they learnt to live not off 100% of their income, but off 90% of their income or 95%. Really good idea. And lastly, this is where savings are helpful. This is very sort of short-term savings, but cash flow. Now, if some of you aren't familiar with what we mean by the term cash flow basically means you get $2,000 in a month, making these figures up, and you spend $2,000 a month. That's all good. But the issue with cash flow works like this. You might, on the first of the month, get 1,000 of your £2,000 in. So you've got $1,000 in, but on day 3, you have to pay your rent, which is 1,200 quid. Well, you're now 200 quid into your overdraft because you haven't got enough cash flow to keep the boat buoyed. So by the end of the month, you've got enough money, but at that point, you haven't. It's called cash flow. Business companies, Pneuma, we all face it. So having buffer in there is really handy. It's not saving as such, but it's an intentional buffer that means you don't dip below the waterline, or at least rarely. So we're going to keep moving. Here's a question. How much is too much money to have saved? I've got 2 answers for this. One is more of a spiritual answer, and one is a practical answer. So my spiritual answer is, how much money is too much to have saved up? The answer is, whatever the amount of money is, that means you've stopped trusting in God and are now trusting in your money. And I don't know how much that is for you. You could have $250,000 in ISAs and stashed away and in gold bullion and all kinds of things. I don't know, Bitcoin. You could have it all stashed away and you still absolutely live every day trusting in God. Great, as long as you're doing something with that money and making use of it. Equally, you might have only $5,000 in the bank, $2,000, $1,000 in the bank, and you're still absolutely relying on your money and not on God, but that's still too much then. A person was talking to me at the end of the first service and saying how they ended up on statutory sick pay and ended up on just 50 quid. And saying, I had to learn to trust. I had no option but to learn to trust in God. So how much is too much to have saved? Spiritually, however much means you start trusting in what you've got in the bank. I'm okay. I've got money in the bank. No one would be that smug, but essentially that's what happens on the inside. I'm okay because I've got money in the bank. I'm fine. I don't need to trust in God. And we would never say that, but it doesn't stop it being true just because we wouldn't vocalize it. I see it in myself too. And lastly about savings is this: how is your money working for you? Because we have a misconception in this country that we work for money. But in actual fact, money is supposed to be working for us. Anybody out there? Is there anybody there? Yes? Money is meant to be working for us. God said, Jesus made it really clear. He said, you can't serve God and money. He wasn't saying, naughty boy, you can't serve both of them. He's saying, no, it's like a toggle switch. Like you'll have them on your phones and everything. It's one way or it's the other way. You either serve God or you serve money. It's literally impossible to serve both. Think of a light switch. It's either on or it's off. You can't serve both. It's literally impossible. So he's saying if you're not serving God, you're serving money. And we're not meant to serve money. Money is meant to serve us. Hello? Anybody? Are we all right? Is everyone okay? I know this is a lot. So the question really is always, how is your money working for you? If we're just simply building up nest eggs for the sake of building up those amounts of money, it's pointless. What can we be doing with the money? What would God have us do with the money? Now, money makes money, and although I get it. So, I love this because it's got the word sluggard in it, which is a much underused word. Go to the ant, you sluggard. It stores its provisions in summer and gathers its food at harvest. The wise store up choice food and olive oil, but fools gulp theirs down. It's okay to just have some reserves to help. I wouldn't be happy if our washing machine broke. Actually, we thought our dishwasher were broken 2 weeks ago. Totally stopped working. No. It turns out somehow 2 chicken bones have made it past the filter and have blocked the impeller. So that cost us 70 quid instead of like 400 or something. So that was great news. Principle 6, we're going to keep moving on. Principle 6, getting out of debt. Now, we talked a little bit about debt last week. I think most people in here would probably say, I never want to be in debt. I'm in debt. I owe people money. Like it might be a mortgage. It doesn't matter. No one really says, oh, really want to be in debt. I love being in debt. It feels amazing. Nobody said, well, I've never heard anyone say that ever. People we don't like being in debt. Banks love it when we're in debt because the people who are in debt pay for the people who aren't, and they pay for the whole banking system. So banks love it when we owe them money. It's literally one of their objectives because they make money off the people who owe them money. It's true. You are so quiet this morning. I'm just going to keep going, assuming you're listening. Here are some things. If you're in debt, I encourage you to, I'm going to pull them up in just a second. I've been in debt in the past. I had something called an IVA, which stands for Individual Voluntary Arrangement, many years ago now, 20 plus years ago. It's like one down from bankruptcy. It's certainly when you're in the place where you've got more debts piled up than you can do, and you can't manage them anymore. And so you enter a legal agreement, but it's like a voluntary arrangement that you make with all your creditors. And normally you have a company who works through it with you and does it sort of for you. I mean, you still have to pay, but they facilitate it for you. And it lasts a certain period of time. And then at the end of the period of time, essentially, someone goes to the people you say, they act on your behalf and say, look, my client owes you $5,000. He hasn't got $5,000. He's basically as good as broke. Whereas if you can accept that he pays you back $3,000 and he'll pay you back at this amount a month, then are you willing to write off the rest of the money owed? And in theory, they say yes, it's negotiated. And that then becomes an IVA. So I do know what it's like to be in debt, very much. But here are some principles. If this is you and you're in debt, here are some things. Number 1, stop and face it. It's my number 1. Absolutely my number 1. You've got to face up to it. You've got to stop putting the letters that are coming through the door in one pile, unopened. You have to face up to it. Tools down you've got to be honest. I am in trouble. I need some help. I need to do something different to what I'm doing. Number 2, you'll need to start, which is linked to number 4, you need to start budgeting / making a plan. This is specifically getting out of debt. Ideally, increase income and reduce outgoings. I agree that God loves us. He is a plentiful Father. However, when we are in significant debt to the point that we're behaving in the way we are, hiding letters, can't handle it, all that kind of thing, I hate to break it to you, you are not entitled to do your week's shopping in Marks and Spencer's food. Well, God says I can live like a king. Okay, for now, you might have to shop in Lidl. We shop in Aldi. Aldi's all good. Are there some things that in other shops that are glorious? Absolutely. So we sometimes have to increase our income, reduce our outgoings. You don't have to have the top Sky TV package. You can live without it. You can live without that particular subscription for the magazine that you only read every now and then anyway. You can live without the newspaper being delivered to your door and instead go out and get it. Some of those things, just really super practical. Increase your income. Your work offers you overtime. For now, take it. If you can manage to take it, childcare, all that kind of thing, take it. I've put number 6, find a plan for your weaknesses. Now, sometimes we get into debt. I ended up getting into debt because of a marriage breakdown and some other things. You can, and some of it was my own fault. You can get into debt for reasons beyond your control, but very often we've got into debt and we have probably played a part because we carry certain weaknesses for certain things, which we then go and buy or spend money on. I haven't had a night out in ages. I really deserve one. Do you know, I haven't had a holiday for ages. I'm owed a holiday. You're not. Just so you all know, so we're really clear. We're not owed anything. God is just super kind and gives us loads of stuff. The wages of sin is death. That's what we're owed. And God, in his kindness, puts breath in our bodies and causes our hearts to beat. So we have to get past some of that stuff. It's really hard because the lower you are, the more you feel that you're owed a holiday or owed a something or that kind of thing. I know, I get it. That feeling mounts on you. Number 7, and this is where I would part ways slightly with Christians Against Poverty, CAP. I would say keep tithing. I would argue that case. CAP say it's okay to still be giving to your local church, but it's limited to only a certain amount a week. If you choose to go to CAP, Christians Against Poverty, they're a brilliant organisation. They can help you manage your finances, get out of debt. Great. If you're going to go with them, then honour them by giving the amount that they're saying to give. I would say, when God says, see if I will not throw open the windows of heaven and throw out so much blessing, pour out so much blessing, you won't have room enough to contain it, I do not want to be biting off the hand that feeds me. So my tithe is my position of saying, God, whatever else happens, I will trust you to get me out of this mess I'm in. And if that means I have to eat a bit less, if that means I have to go out less, if that means we survive on some tins of beans for a while, I wouldn't stop tithing. And yes, I've been there. That's just me. You have a look at the Bible, ask the Lord, see what's what. Number 8 is the same as number 1. Get help. If you're in debt that badly, you've got to get some help. I would urge you, get some help. I had to have this moment of saying, I can't do this. I need to get some help. And you go out to people. You can go to the Citizens Advice, can't you? I'm looking for my Citizens Advice guru over there. I'm getting the nod. You can go to Citizens Advice. You can come to us. We can point you in the right direction, but try and get some help. That's what I would say. Okay, principle 7. Just checking the time. It's got a reflection of the screen on it. Okay. Principle 7, we're going to go pretty quickly through this. Live simply and with contentment. So much of the money challenges and issues we face are because we live in a society and we live in a culture that is constantly bombarding us with messages of what we should have in our lives. And you're worth it. You deserve it. You would be happy if you were just a bit slimmer. You would be happy if you were fitter. You would be happy if you had more money. You'd be happy if you drove this car. You'd be happy if you went on this holiday. This is the stuff we get told all the time, right? Yes, okay, great, yep. This is the stuff we get told. I want to tell you an analogy. In the warehouse where we've been doing the work recently, we're nearly done actually, particularly the auditorium. We're so close. We've got some carpet to do, a couple of things over here, but and a few more chairs still to paint right at the very bottoms of the legs. But other than that, we're nearly there. We're waiting to sort that door out and the map and other things. Anyway, this was the principle. As we looked at what we needed to do or wanted to do in here, this was the main principle. You know we're moving, this is me speaking to you, you know we're moving in a few years' time. God has told us and spoken to us, and he's told us the size of building we need and all that. We're moving. We're not staying here too much longer, a few more years, and then we're off. So, we have been willing to invest money in the things we can take with us. The things we can't take with us, don't expect a luxurious carpet when it comes, because we can't take it with us. We're not splashing the cash on the carpet. We're just getting some thin carpet tiles and covering over this, because can't take it with us. What's the point? But things like some of these house lights that we've spent money on, whatever, those things, this screen is coming with us. So it's worth it. So here's a question. As I consider my life on earth and what I can take with me when I go, there are things I'm willing to invest in that I can take with me. And then things that I can't take with me, I could probably do with being less invested in. So things that will enrich me as a person, grow me closer to Jesus, impact the people around me, they're probably some good things to invest money in. I think one of the contexts you can be in that is most striking about this is when you lose a loved one. And when you lose a loved one, you suddenly get a whole different understanding on the things that really matter in life. Don't you? I assume you've all lost someone, even if it's just a favourite pet dog or something. And I'm so sorry if I've just brought that up and that's still big news for you. But we've all been through losing someone close to us, or in that moment, or there's it's obviously been a year since Diogo Jota died, the Liverpool, and with his brother as well, the Liverpool player. And so all the anniversary stuff is coming up. And I remember, even for me, and I didn't even know the guy personally, but I've seen some of the reactions that are now starting to come out after Liverpool have finished the season. At the end of the season, there are people saying, we didn't want to train. And we were being trained by people who didn't want to train us. And we were being treated by physios who didn't want to treat us. It's football. We just lost a friend in a car accident, just killed tragically here 1 minute, in a second gone. And you get this perspective on life that you think, yeah. Now, you can't live every day as if it were your last. You get those memes on Facebook and things like that. Ridiculous, absolutely stupid. Of course you can't live every day as if it were your last. It was Socrates who said, "He who is not contented with what he has would not be contented with what he would like to have." When we are being told, get this holiday, you'll feel great. Get this body shape, you'll feel great. Change gender, it'll be amazing. Go to this particular shop, go on this holiday, drive this car, Vorsprung durch Technik. Whatever it is, We're being lied to. If only, as Socrates said, not even a Christian, didn't even know Jesus as far as we know, around 400 years before Jesus even came to the earth, says if you're not content with what you've got, you won't be content with the things you're going after either. But we do get lied to. And we say to ourselves, if only I had this, I'd feel better. Except McDonald's, that's okay. And Paul says this. He says, I have learned to be content whatever the circumstances. I know what it is to be in need. I know what it is to have plenty. You can read the rest of it later. Look at that first bit. I have learned to be content. It's a learned thing. We have to learn how to say, shh, 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 shh. The wanting thing, quieten. There's nothing wrong with wanting something. It's okay to want something. There is a slight cautionary note here that I will say. That I do meet some people who are so content that they're virtually horizontal. And the Bible doesn't really give us that option. We have to live this thing of saying, I'm content with what I have, and yet, God, I long for more. I long to see more of you. But God, I'm really grateful that we've seen X number of people healed, but God, we long for more. We're content, we're satisfied, we feel like we're satiated from what you've given us, and yet we long for more. Do you understand what I mean? It's not okay to live over here. Because Jesus doesn't permit us that. He says, no, you need to go into all the world, make disciples of all nations, drive out demons, heal the sick, raise the dead. We're going to keep moving on. Love this in Hebrews. Keep your lives free from the love of money and be content with what you have. What a great verse. Keep your lives free from the love of money. Now, I'm doing much better for time this service. Service one will be pleased to know. This final principle I want to take you through. And it's called 4 Accounts, and it's by this lady here, Tiffany Aldish, the budgetnista, as she is known. Has anyone, bless you, has anyone heard of her? Anyone at all? No? Okay, she's at first service, very good. She's a New York Times bestseller. She's an amazing lady. She's been absolutely flat broke. In fact, I think she was officially bankrupt at one point. And it's really worth going to her website. And her aim is to help people get money to be working for them rather than them working for money. And she gives this principle. She teaches loads. But this is the principle she gives, and this is what I would love to share with you. It's this simple. She says that this would help more people in their money than anything else she knows is get 4 accounts. Bank accounts. 4 accounts. And this is the principle. You have a spending account I'm going to come back to in a minute. You have a bills account. We all know what bills are, right? Your water bill, your gas bill, your electricity bill, your whatever other bill that are regular, your council tax bill, that sort of thing. We all know roughly how much they are. Maybe you've never bothered to add them up, but add them up, work out. Oh, okay, I'm going to say for the purposes of this, £500 a month, my bills. I probably actually would add mortgage and other things on there. They're bills that are repeating, that we know how much they are. I'm going to call it 500. If you can do all your bills of 500, God bless you. Come and teach, please. That's amazing. But for now, at least, for the sake of this, bills account, we're saying we're putting 500 quid. Emergency savings. Emergency savings is the one I talked about. Now, people who are in the know about money say that you should have 3 months of whatever you need to survive in 1 month. You should have 3 months squirreled away somewhere. So if you need 5 grand every month to live, I'm literally making the numbers up, somewhere you should have 15 grand. Do that. Like, I'm not against it. I would love to see that 15 grand put to some use. At least put the 15 grand in a high yield ISA account or something. Buy some gold with it. I don't know. Do something with it that means you're going to need reasonable access to that money, but you don't want easy access to that money. But anyway, at the very least, you're going to want enough in there to buy a new washing machine. And so the idea of this account is to cover yourself if something untoward happens. Okay? So that's emergency savings. And then you've got goal savings. So emergency savings is something bad's happened. Goal savings is, no, I want something good to happen. It's saving for a holiday. It's saving because you know you're going to need a new car. It's saving because your local church, you know, is going to be doing a giving campaign on something, and you're like, I'm planning ahead, I want to be able to give to it. It's wanting to be able to help contribute some money towards your child's wedding. It could be anything like that. It's a positive, I'm looking ahead, I want to put some money aside. And this is what she says you should do. I'm making these numbers up. You get $2,000 into your account at the beginning, on the 1st of the month. On the 2nd of the month, £500 automatically, that's the key word. You've set it up, £500 automatically transfers out of your account. You could do it on the 1st, actually. £500 automatically goes into your bills account. Making the numbers up. £200 goes into your emergency savings account. And £100 goes into your goal savings. Now, what you've got left, you can spend on food, on nights out, on trips, on buying something for the house, buying yourself some clothes. But you know your bills are covered. You know you've got some backstop money in terms of emergency savings. And you know you've got some goal savings that you are building up in order to be able to. Do you understand the principle? Your figures are going to be, I literally made them up, okay? The figures are not particularly relevant. Now, what Nick has said is that Bible school, starting the 6th of the 11th, I'm looking at Kat, who's now left the room. I think it's 6th of November. Nick is starting a 6-week series on finances with God, and she is going to cover some of this in more detail and some of the principles of how to get out of debt. So a lot of this is going to get covered in more detail. So we're drawing to a close. You've seen this slide before. You've got a slip on your chair. Interestingly, I had someone else speak to me before the service, and they said, I just want to encourage you. I thought I was tithing, and I just did a quick double check when I got home, and I was mortified to find that in actual fact, I wasn't tithing anymore. My income had gone up, and I'd forgotten to check my giving. And so this person then checked their giving, changed their giving. So we know about this slip. You've got one there. There's a QR. You can respond to that. But I just want to give you a few little bits of advice, and then I want to speak to you about some possibilities. Yeah, we're all good. So here's one. I'm about to quote some Dickens at you. Very learned in here this morning. Not only have we quoted Socrates, we're now quoting Dickens. And it is from David Copperfield. Anyone familiar with David Copperfield as a work? About 3 people. 4 people. Good. Mr. Wilkins Micawber said this: annual income, £20. Annual expenditure, 19 and 6. Result, happiness. Annual income, £20. Annual expenditure, £20 and 6. Result, misery. Most of us get into money troubles because we don't say no at the point we should. Not all of us. There are other circumstances, we know that, of course. But there have been, very often we're spending something when we probably should have said no, or should have said we just need to wait, or something like that. So please remember this. We spoke about it in previous weeks. You may remember the acronym HALT. So if you're going to spend some money, HALT. Don't do it when you're hungry, angry, lonely, or tired. Unless you absolutely have to spend money when you're hungry, angry, lonely, or tired, don't do it. Like I said, I think a couple of weeks ago, never go grocery shopping when you're hungry. You just buy loads because your eyes just see it and you want it. I need those. I've never seen that biscuit before. Look at the size of those chocolate chips. Oh, they'll feel amazing. I've earned them after all. All those things that we do. So hungry, angry, lonely, tired. Stay away from your computer, put your phone down, shut down your Amazon account. You probably don't need it. If you still need it in the morning when you're not hungry, angry, lonely, or tired, then look in your accounts and maybe it is worth getting. I always ask myself the question, what is this worth to me? Now, I told the story in the first service of this thing. Thankfully, I had Dave Waterman in here. He was my buddy in the first service. There is a thing that has come up on Instagram. They've spotted that I like watching little mini aviation clips, a particular plane coming. I don't know planes. I'm not a plane spotter. Don't start praying for me. It's okay. But I used to be terrified of flying, and I'm really not anymore. And I thank God for that. In actual fact, I'm fascinated by the inside cockpit views when a plane's going to take off. And when it's going to land, and minimums, and all these things. Like I watch them, they're fun. Anyway, it's the algorithm has picked up that I watch a few of these things, and so it's offered me this glorious device, which is an LED screen, a dot matrix screen, probably about the size of this iPad, and it's dot matrix. So like the signs above motorways. And they've got the little LEDs. It's actually what that is. There's just lots and lots of LEDs. Anyway, you can have one of these, and you put it on the side or you mount it on the wall, and it's connected to the internet, and it displays the planes that are flying over you right now. What altitude they are, where they're going, where they've come from, their current speed, whether they're going up, whether they're level, whether they're going down. It's really exciting. And I am a silver member of Flight Radar because I am that guy who sometimes I stress, hear a plane going over and go, where's that going? I wonder where that's going. And if you get silver, you can even point it up at the sky and it tracks where they are and whatever. Now, what I have to ask the question, I know how much the thing costs. I have to ask myself the question, how much is it worth to me? I don't know. I can't work out whether it's a gimmick. That after a couple of months, I'm not going to bother. But I need to work out how much it is for me and then look and see how much the cost is. How much is that worth for me? Well, I think it's probably worth about 40 quid. It's a decent bit of kit, maybe 50 at a push. If it should be 75 and then they've dropped it to 50, obviously that then feels more like a bargain. You sucker, you've absolutely fallen for it. Anyway, that principle, I've looked it up. 160 quid. Whoa, don't knock it. Don't you make those noises. It's a wonderful bit of kit. Dave Waterman was there. He said, send me the link like that. And Dave Waterman said, this is what I want. And he found this thing on his phone. I'm really digressing. But anyway, he said, this is what I want. And he said, watch this. And it was a guy outside. He pointed his phone at the sky like that. And you could see a plane going over. And then he went into his lounge and projected onto the ceiling was all the flight data of the plane going across that was outside. It was like a detailed projection of what was happening outside. Dave said, I want one of these. I went, sign me up. I want one too. Anyway, like that. The point is, what is that worth to me? You've got to ask this question before you go and buy stuff. What's it worth to me? Now, it's not worth 160 quid to me at the moment. I've got other things to spend 160 quid on. I don't need 160. I've got Flight Radar, which is about a tenner a year or something. Now, if someone wants to buy it for me, flightwall.com. If someone wants to buy it, no, I am entirely teasing. But that kind of thing. Or do you know what? It might be like a Christmas present where I ask a few people to club together and it's fun at that. But right now, 160, that's not worth 160 quid to me. Work out what something's worth to you, and if it's more than it's worth to you, just don't buy it. Just wait. See if you've got peace about buying it. If you haven't got peace, don't buy it. Okay. Lastly, this is my last page of just some basics that we are going to wrap up with. Tithe. This is my number one. I was about 80% convinced about the tithe versus New Testament. I'm now 98%. The more I've studied it, the more I can see God says, just tithe. It's a relational issue. Number two, be generous. We've looked at all of these. Take back control of our finances. Don't let finances drive you. You cannot serve God and money. It's a toggle switch. It's one or the other. So we need to take back control. Exercise self-discipline. That means say no. Learn to be content in all situations and bring all our money under the lordship of Jesus. And what I would love us to do is stand, and I'm just going to read something out to you, so please do. And I would love you to do like a semi-prayer / imagining thing. So please do just shut your eyes. This is going to take literally 2 minutes. We're going to be done. So just shut your eyes a minute. You can take your hand off your wallet. We're not coming around to get it. It's all good. What would it look like for everyone here to be out of debt? What would it look like to see mortgages paid off? A deluge of finances released into the kingdom? To see pastored housing established where people can stay for a period of time to help deal with addictions, problems, and life habits? What would it look like to see missions released to other nations, worship ministries established and launched far and wide? What would it look like for no one within 10 miles, within 20 miles being hungry? For the lonely to be invited in, a single parent having their bills paid for a year, our money working for us while we sleep? What would it look like for us training and releasing new church plants who are released with their own building? What would it look like for us to hold festivals in the parks and streets of our cities that hold high the name of Jesus? What would it look like to have thriving kids and youth spaces that help our children encounter Jesus and train them in the way they should go? What would it look like to pay off someone's car debt, to sponsor a homeless person as they take the first step into housing? What would it look like to create businesses and ministries that provide jobs for people? To help godly startups with training and resources, to start freedom centers where people can come to be prayed free from the bondages of the devil in their lives? What would it look like to start a Christian school, primary and secondary? What would it be like to fund the solution to some of society's greatest challenges? What would it be like to train, equip, and strengthen those who wish to get into politics? If the new Prime Minister knew Jesus and walked in step with the Holy Spirit? What would it look like for us to have a building that rescues and equips people, introducing them to a life walked out with Jesus and sending people into their day-to-day to live a miraculous life? What would it look like through a combination of prayer and science that we break the back of cancer once and for all? And what would it look like to leave a legacy not for our children, but for our children's children? God, will you help us with our finance? We don't want to live a life of being sick and tired of being poor, or sick and tired of being sick and tired. We want to live a life, God, where we run after you with everything we have, and we look round and we find money is following us, and not that money is in front of us and we're chasing it. All those things, God, we just read out, we want to be able to say yes to them. They all need money, and we want to be saying yes to them. And just while we're in this moment, if there's anyone in here who's never said yes to Jesus, this is a great moment to put your hand high in the air, and we would love to just welcome you. If there's anyone who's never said yes and they want it to be today. Thank you, God, for all the money we have. And yeah, God, we'd love some more. But we would love some more so we can keep saying yes to the things that you've put in our hearts to do. Thank you for your kindness and your provision. Amen and amen.